ECCouncil University, which is accredited, flexible, and online. Over to you, Jay.
Thank you very much, Rohit. I appreciate you inviting me to be part of such an important webinar. And to ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I must thank you for taking time off your precious schedule to be with me on a very important topic that's very dear to my heart. And the purpose of this webinar is going to be to address how can you, an individual, doesn't matter which part of the world that you are, how can you actually build a leadership career in cybersecurity? My presentation will be approximately 45 minutes, and after which I will take the last 15 minutes to do my best to answer as many questions as I can. So if you have questions, please go ahead and type out in the questions tab, and I will do my best to address as many questions as I can. I wanted to start my talk by talking to you a little bit about careers that have actually vanished in the past 40 years. I think it's absolutely important for us to take a step back and take a look into the past. There were so many jobs that we took for granted. For example, travel agents. Well, if you look at it today, Expedia, Kayak, there are so many sites that you find across every country in the world that have actually replaced these positions that were actually once indispensable. Travel agents. What about ticketing vendors? We no longer have the ability of wanting to stand in a counter. Even if you're in London, when you take the London Underground, you want an Oyster card. Well, there'll be one vendor, one ticketing counter that's open. Everything else is a machine. So this is the same across data entry operators, the same across parking ticket collectors. Most cities in the world today have got machines. You put in coins, you put in a credit card, and you whip out a ticket, you put it in a dashboard, and you walk away, right? In India, there's a specific a position called a traffic challan inspector, which basically is a traffic inspector, as you see in London and in the United States. And those positions are gone because automated scanners, cameras are now taking over these positions. The question we have to ask ourselves is this: what's going to happen to the position of computer engineers? With artificial intelligence taking center stage in technology, the position of computer engineers is now one of those positions that is at risk. I wouldn't say that in my mind a computer engineer will be eliminated by 2021, but I can definitely say with authority that the amount of positions will be diminished. So if you are in computer engineering, this is a webinar that's very important for you, because you think about reinventing yourself, because you are dealing in an area where there's so much of technological advancement that's coming in to help improve the positions of organizations, and the reliance that they had on individuals is no longer the same in the future as it used to be in the past. Now let's take a look slightly deeper, in case you think that this is just my prediction. Not really. There's actually a lot of articles that you will see around the world that talks about jobs that are being killed by automation. Take a look at drivers today. In most countries, if you look 20 years back, drivers were a common staple of positions that were open. But now you see that the concept of having a driver is actually reducing. And I will tell you, by 2030, it will not any longer be necessary for you to drive. Take a look at Uber. What has Uber done around the world? Take a look at their competitors in India, Ola. In Malaysia, Singapore, in most part of Southeast Asia, you have Grab. All of these companies, or Uber lookalikes, or colleagues of Uber in the industry, have kind of diminished the needs of drivers, because now with an app on your phone, you're able to get to point A, point B. So what happened to those positions of people who did not go to school, who say, it's all right, I'm going to learn how to drive and get a job? What happens to them? Well, those positions are being diminished. Let me tell you guys, this is going to become worse, because if you look at the valuation that Uber has in the stock market, I'm sure some of you might be following this, you'll be thinking that, wait a minute, Uber is actually losing money, but they're valued billions and billions and billions of dollars. How does that happen? Well, let me tell you, the reason is because they're sitting on some real cool technology that is going to make driverless cars possible. And when driverless cars become possible, Uber's profitability goes up. So this is not about Uber, but this is about technology replacing a common job that you have. Now, software coders, right? And software testers and web developers. Well, let's start with web developers. right? Many years ago, if you want to do a website, you got to learn HTML and you got to start coding HTML completely. Now what's happening? People are buying templates. People are buying skins. It's a multi-million-dollar industry of being able to go out and being able to buy skins and templates so you can whip out a website within a couple of minutes. Software testing is now largely automated. Whether it's security testing, whether it is a testing of load balancing, whatever it might be, these different types of tests can be automated using technology. And this, guys, is happening before blockchain, before AI has taken center stage. We're just beginning to talk about AI. We are the infancy of AI. If AI has not ballooned into a massive technology that the world cannot rely without. But yet we are already seeing positions being diminished. So this is a very important change in the industry. And therefore, most of you that are in this session that are talking about a career in cybersecurity, you need to ask yourself, how do you remain relevant and how do you remain employable? And there are many ways out of that. One of the key things that I'll tell you is by learning, by reinventing yourself. If you are choosing to be somebody who is going to follow a pack leader because 5 of your friends have picked up an industry, right? Then you're going to have a lot of trouble. So you got to think about yourself, about reinventing yourself. Let me give you a real life story for me, myself. I was born in Malaysia. I was educated in the United Kingdom as a barrister, as an attorney. My business life has taken me to the United States predominantly. I come from a very conservative Gujarati family, which hails from the west of India. But I was born in Malaysia. Even my father was born in Malaysia. But because of the conservatism in my family, there were really 4 options of career. You either be a doctor, you be a lawyer, you be an engineer, or a preferred profession of accountancy, right? If I went to my dad at that time and said, I wanted to be a computer engineer, he would say, you're probably out of your mind, right? Because that was not the order of the day. These were the 4, shall I say, respectable profession, right? So I went to law school, became a lawyer, but my love, my passion was IT. But I did not go to school as IT. So what did I do? I went to law school in the day, and in the evenings, I would go for coding classes. I would pick up every book I can find. I would research, read. I did a lot for myself to remain relevant, to ensure that I'm employable in an area that I was passionate about. So of course, nothing replaces passion. If you're not passionate, no one can help you. But if you're passionate about yourself, if you're passionate about your career, if you're passionate about your family, then pick something that you really love to do and spend a tremendous amount of time improving yourself. Do not be a follower. Just because 5 of your friends, 10 of your friends, your uncles, your aunties, your nieces, your nephews, your neighbors happen to do one profession, that does not mean that that's the profession that you should actually follow. What you should think about, and you should be asking yourself, are you ready for the future? That is the key question. Because you know what, guys? The degree that you are in today might no longer be relevant tomorrow. And if you think I'm going to do a computer science, computer engineering, a basic engineering program, and you know what, I'm going to graduate, probably get some decent grades, I'm going to get employed in an organization, and we'll see what happens. By the time you reach that stage, technology would have moved so much forward that the day you've been preparing for might no longer be there. And that is what this talk is all about, is to so-called predict what can actually happen. How can you empower yourselves? Don't get me wrong, those degrees of computer science is very valuable, it's very important, but you need to do more. You cannot just say, I will be a follower and I'm going to be a leader. I think there should be 3 questions. If I were in your place and if you're on this session, you're probably a second year or final year student in some kind of a program around the world in IT. You're probably a cybersecurity practitioner across the world at an early stage of a career. And I think if that's the depiction of who you are, I think that what you should do is ask yourself 3 important questions. Question number 1, what jobs are you preparing for that will actually exist in the future? Okay, because the jobs that you're actually getting ready for might not exist. For example, you might say, I want to be a web developer. Well, if the entire world is going to start buying templates, and if templates are pretty smart that you get automated with a click of a button, Well, how many jobs are there going to be for you to actually get that, right? If you say, my mission in life is I want to be the best software coder there is, yeah, you're right. Today, there are a lot of jobs, but you're starting your career. 20 years from now, you would all have families, and your families will be going for college, and you will have to pay a tremendous amount of money for these fees. How are you going to be able to afford it unless you've got a job and unless you have a career, if I may add? And if that is a sunset industry because AI has taken over 20 years from now, then what's going to happen? Something you should think about, right? Number two, what are the skills that you need to prepare for the jobs the next decade? So I happen to know a lot of cybersecurity professionals, and I'll tell you, some of the better ones that I know are very clear about the direction. They've picked a brilliant university program. Some of them have done multiple degree programs. Some of them have done multiple degree programs and internship. The better ones have done multiple degree programs, internship, and they've also taken certification programs to add on in their field of study because they are getting ready for the future. They're not just waiting to say, okay, a class from 9 to 12, and then I've got the afternoon free, so I'll just take it easy and I'll just watch some sports on TV, and then I'll show up to college. They're actually planning their entire future the way you look at a Google map when you want to move from point A to point B. So guys, the question for you is, what is your Google map? Where is your start point? And where is your end point? That's the key question you should be asking yourself. And the most important question, because we have got close to 10,000 registrations for this event. I know a very large of them come from our partner universities in India. My question to you is, if you think that you're great in tech, let me tell you, there are 10 other people that are great in tech like you in your city. If you think that, well, you know what, I happen to have a degree, well, there are 100 people that have a degree. How will you distinguish yourself? How will you be someone that is different, that when you show up at your next career move, they'll say, this is the person I want in my organization, regardless of where you come from? This is a very important question, because whether you like it or not, I mean, there can be a lot of philosophical debates, but the truth is mankind is in a race. And the truth is, whether we like it or not, when we employ people at ECCouncil, and we will get hundreds of applications, and sometimes we pick one, sometimes we pick three, sometimes we pick five, and everybody wants the best. So how would you be the best? How would you convince an employer that I am the best, I am the one that you want? That is something that you should be thinking about very, very seriously. Well, in my opinion, one possible answer for tech folks is the fact that you should seriously consider cybersecurity as a career option. And I will tell you why do I say this and how you can actually help yourselves in a profession that is highly in demand. First and foremost, right, you have to ask yourself these questions. The question that you have to ask yourself is, do you want to prepare for a job or for a career where there will be 100, or God forgive me if I said 1,000 people waiting for the same position? Or do you want to be in a job where there's no one applying for the position because everyone that applied got a job, and you are probably one of the few rare ones out there? Which one do you think gives you a better bargaining position? This is a key point that I would tell you that attracts people to cybersecurity. Guys, the estimate that we are seeing say that there are 3.5 million cybersecurity professionals that will be needed by 2021. 3.5 million. Keep that in mind. And if you look at all data, you would see that the demand for cybersecurity professionals will increase to 6 million globally by 2019. 6 million is the demand, 3.5 are those that exist. There, in my mathematics, there will be 2.5 million people that will be needed by organizations, 2.5 advertisements that will go on a website saying that I want this cybersecurity analyst, I want a pen tester, I want a vulnerability assessment manager, I want a chief information security manager, I want a network defense manager, but there'll be no one that'll be applying for it because there is a scarcity in cybersecurity, and that is a fact. So what I urge you to consider is, when you talk of cybersecurity as a profession, is, do you want to be in an area where there are 1,000 people applying, or do you want to be in an area where you are the niche, you are the unique one, you are the one people coming? Because in cybersecurity, whether you like it or not, the facts are that the salaries are jumping astronomically. The biggest problem with the cybersecurity industry, and I've been in this industry for 20 years, is this: you hire a cybersecurity professional today, In 6 months, somebody else offers them a hike of 20-30%. As long as you are worth your salt, that is probably the reality. Companies will have to do so much more to hold on to great talent, and talent is not easy to find. And as I speak, you would see that there's a lot more data that I'll share with you. Now, the cybersecurity industry is humongous. So if you think that, yeah, Jay, you know what, 3.5 million professionals today, 6 million required by 2019. Hey, but what happens if, you do 5 of these webinars and all those positions get filled because professionals get created? Let me tell you, the second thing I like about cybersecurity industry is the growth of the industry itself. The bad guys are doing such a fantastic job of attacking corporations around the world that the demand is going to keep growing. Look at my slide prior to this. The growth by 2020 is 37%. Cybersecurity jobs will grow at 37% and regular IT by 18%. It's double, my friends, double. For every single IT job created, there'll be 2 in cybersecurity. And for every 2 jobs in cybersecurity, 1 of them doesn't have an applicant or suitable candidate. There just aren't enough people. So huge opportunity in this area. This is not just in one country, it's across the world. Now, what is it that the bad guys are doing? Let me tell you, 1 in every 6 crimes in the world. So I'm talking about burglary, I'm talking about murder, I'm talking about petty theft, I'm talking about extortion, I'm talking about smuggling, I'm talking about all of those. There are hundreds of crimes out there. 1 in every 6 is cyber. This is one reason why the industry is growing. The amount of crimes that are happening in cyber is astronomical. 1 million new malwares are discovered every day, not every week, not every month. 1 million. And who are they attacking? They used to attack large corporations, and then they attack small and medium-sized corporations. Now they attack every Tom, Dick, and Harry. You, your family, your cousins, your neighbors are all susceptible. Don't believe me? Think about ransomware. Think about hackers across the world that walk in, hack into your systems, encrypt your entire data and say, pay me in Bitcoin or I will destroy your data. Companies go bankrupt because of this. There's a whole phishing industry that's been created because of these new malwares, right? Now, here's the one. 1% of global earnings are lost to cyber criminals. $600 billion is lost every year to cybercrime. This is a humongous problem. And you would see newspaper articles every day that will talk about large institutions that are compromised. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you really think these institutions don't have security professionals? They do. Do you think they don't have large security budgets? They do. Do you think they don't have IT security policies? They do. Do you think they don't have systems, processes, and technology in place? They do. But they still get compromised. You know why? Because you need human beings to configure these devices. You need human beings to monitor the systems, and there aren't many. Those that are hired get a salary hike every now and then. Corporations are actually competing to hire the best talent. So what happens to all the other organizations that are not able to compete? What happens to the people who are not able to get a pay that's good enough to hire the best talent? Well, I guess you don't get those people. And then what happens? You get compromised. Let me tell you how big this market is. 6 trillion. Remember this, 6 trillion is not a billion, is not a million, 6 trillion. 6 trillion is predicted to be the cyber security loss by 2021. Do you know what 6 trillion is? Now, don't look at the slide. Close your eyes for 1 second. Just close your eyes, everyone, and think about this. Think about Bill Gates. Think about Bill Gates that built Microsoft, Windows, built Word, Excel, PowerPoint in his company. Think about all those computers in your town or city, in your state, in your country, all those large companies. Each company has millions of devices across the city. Now think about your region, Asia, Middle East, Europe. Think about the world. Think about the amount of installation of Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Exchange, servers, right? Huge. What's the revenue of Microsoft? 196 billion in 2018. Now think about Steve Jobs, the inventor of Apple. Think about all those iPhone devices. Think about all the Macintosh Pros, iMacs that are around the world. Think about all the enterprise clients they have. What's their revenue? 265 billion. Now think about Google. Think about all the online advertising that they do. Think about all the enterprise work that they do. Think about all the search engine, Google Maps. Their revenue, 136 billion. You add these three companies, you add Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, you add Sergey Brin and Larry Page, and all that they have done, you multiply that by 10 times. That is the size of the cyber crime industry. Now you understand why this is a humongous industry, and why if I were reborn in your era, there's no question, cybersecurity will be my industry, because I think, at least in my opinion, this will carry on for the next 50 years. The problem is humongous. At least in my lifetime, I don't see AI disrupting this profession, because the profession is huge. The problem is bigger. Companies are scrambling to get these people. It's just that whether I have the technical skill, I have the business acumen, I have the technical understanding, do I have the degree, do I have the knowledge, do I have the skill? That is the only question. And if I were in your place, I would say, I am confident of myself, and I know that I can be the best in this field. This is going to be the industry that I'm going to be picking. $6 trillion US. Why do you think are cyber attacks on a roll, right? Let me give you a couple of reasons. Number one, mankind has been brilliant in inventing technologies. We invent technologies every day, every week, right? Take a look at the application market. I mean, look at your phone. How many applications do you have? Lots, right? Every day we invent new technologies, right? Now think about this for a while. 20 years ago, when I started my career, to me, a computer was a desktop, right? To my father, a computer was a mainframe. To my grandfather, a computer was an abacus. If you know what an abacus is, it's a device with beads on it and you move up and down, right? If you know what an abacus is, you're probably as old as I am. If you don't, I don't blame you. It's okay. You're the new generation. My grandfather had abacus as his supercomputer. My father had a mainframe, those IBM mainframe that spun around as the computer. To me, it became a desktop. To my kids, it is a phone. The device of computing has become smaller and smaller and smaller. While we are figuring out desktop security, because Bill Gates invented the whole era of desktop computing, in my opinion, we invented networking. Computers are now getting connected. We now had to deal with networking. While we were dealing with networking, we invented applications, softwares. Now we started worrying about software security. Then we put applications online. Then we started worrying about web application. We're still figuring out web application. What did we do? We invented cloud. Now we put data. We started worrying about data and cloud security. We are still figuring out cloud, guys. And guess what? We are already talking about IoT. We are talking about mobility. We are talking about convergence of IT and OT, SCADA systems, the systems that control water distribution in your city. The systems that control electricity in the city are now connected to the internet. They never used to be. It means these systems need massive security. But who's going to do that if we don't have the people? And while we're figuring that out, we're already talking about blockchain. We are figuring out blockchain. We're now coming up with AI, artificial intelligence. So the point I'm trying to say is that the amount of the precipitation of technology across industries is at such a rapid pace that we are not able to secure. And this is the reason why there are so many gaps in organizations. So we need lots of people who are qualified, not just people, not people who claim that they can do it, people who are time tested, proven that they can do it. Those are the people that we require. Second reason, shortage of skilled workforce. As I told you earlier, don't believe me? Go to your city. Go to, if you're in India, Naukri.com. If you're in the US, Indeed. Even in UK, even Asia, JobStreet. Pick any of these portals. Type cybersecurity. Type ethical hacking. Type network defense. Take a look at the jobs that you have. There are so many. Every city, you will find thousands and thousands and thousands of cybersecurity jobs. And then you have to show up for interviews, because this is the major problem. Don't believe? Go to Google. If you don't believe me, go to Google and type cybersecurity shortage. And they will tell you data after data after data that's coming up will tell you that we are not able to hire the right amount of people, right? Millions are required in major cities around the world, right? In fact, I would say partly because of ECCouncil, who brought ethical hacking to mainstream almost 19 years ago, there's a severe shortage of ethical hackers around the world. Not just any ethical hackers, but ethical hackers that can actually do their work pretty well. So the conclusion is that the world requires more skilled workforce. I'm sorry. So if you're in this profession, I would not be interested in just being a mediocre developer or mediocre computer science graduate. What I've advised all of my nieces and nephews is go ahead, do computer science, but take on either a second degree or take on a programmatic approach to empower yourself now. Don't wait till you graduate, because when you graduate, guess what? 1,000 people would have graduated with you. But if you started another program now, when you graduate, you would have graduated with a second either graduate certificate program, you would have graduated with an academic credential, you would have graduated with a second degree in cybersecurity. Who do you think will get hired when you show up at the altar of the human resource department of your future employer? It's going to be the person that has got a differentiation value. So remember this, differentiate yourself always. Always be different. Do not be mediocre. Do not follow the crowd, because following the crowd never makes you as top of the league. You'll never be number one if you do that. Be completely different. So it also helps that because of these problems, let me give you a recap. The problem is jobs are being reinvented every day. The problem is technologies are being invented every day thereafter. The problem is because of the technologies that are being invented, hackers are having a field time, but we do not have the right amount of people. So what happens? Demand and supply, economics 101. There's a huge amount of demand. They do not have enough supply. So salaries start hitting rooftop. In fact, if you look at the United States, $380,000 is what you probably pay for a leadership career in cybersecurity. $380,000, right? I'm sorry, I'm having some background noise. Can you please mute? Can I have the organizers mute everybody else? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So 380,000 would be the salary. 380,000, if you take a look at most of the people, that's a lot of money, even in the United States. But you know what? Sometimes you pay 380,000, 400,000. You will not be able to hire a CISO for your organization because they aren't available. There aren't enough people with the credentials. I mean, just think about it. You're a multinational. Are you going to hire a CISO that does not have a degree? What is that set as a status symbol of your organization and your value system to your shareholders? Not much, right? So people want, and large organizations want people in leadership careers at least to have a decent degree, especially a postgraduate degree is highly preferred. Experience, great EQ, right? You cannot get a job if you can't speak well. You cannot get a job if you don't have business etiquette. You cannot get a job if you're not able to converse proficiently in a language of choice of the country. These are all required things in a position. But if all things are equal, the next thing that you require will be your academic qualifications. And I'll share with you some data that will actually prove this. So why do cybersecurity jobs have high salaries? Let's take a look, because this could be probably a guessing game that I'm doing. Here is a survey from PayScale, right? And what we have done is we have compared the IT jobs versus the cybersecurity jobs. And the idea would be that if you're choosing a career, where would you want to specialize? So take a look at PayScale. PayScale will show you that an IT job would be between $40,000 to $60,000. And I've worked in the US for so long, I'll tell you it's pretty accurate, right? It's becoming a commodity because there are lots of tech people that are available. Now, this is cybersecurity comparison, right? A security analyst would start at $67,000, right? Network security administrator, $85,000. Pen tester, $91,000. And let me tell you something, guys. A pen tester at $91,000, I don't think they're going to be very good. I think these are entry level. An actual pen tester who can actually do their job pretty well, I would say 150, 140, 150 at least. This is what you will need to hire them and retain them. right? So what am I trying to tell you? What I'm trying to tell you is, in a sunset standard IT job, sunset industry of IT, at least the way I see it, when I say mediocre positions, which means standard position, nothing unique about you, that thousands of people can do the same job, you're looking about a 40 to 60,000 US dollars position in the United States. Compare the same positions in United States, you'd see that cybersecurity starts at 67, far higher than the highest position in IT, right? So this is another reason why I say that if I were in your era and if I was reborn as a young youth in your beautiful, segment in your beautiful, shall I say, generation, then cybersecurity would be my main focus, because all data points that this is a fantastic industry to be in, and this is something that I can actually build a career. Now comes the question. Okay, fair enough, Jay. You've convinced me that cybersecurity is going to be, the profession where I need to be spending a lot of time in. But the question is this: do I need a degree? Is it really required? Because degrees are painful, right? Come on, it's a fact. I got to do a lot of reading. They require me to do reading. They want me to do writing. They want me to go through exams. Life is already so stressful, right? Let me share with you some data. So this is the data that we have done some research, and what it does is it actually compares jobs with the years of experience required in the jobs versus the minimum academic qualification. Guys, whether you like it or not, right, if you are looking for a job that requires 0 to 2 years experience, they want you to at least have an associate's degree, which in international market means a higher diploma, is what they mean. In the United States, a higher diploma means a degree. Internationally, a higher diploma means one level below a degree, which is equivalent to an associate's degree in the US, right? If you go 3 to 5 years experience, they are going to ask you for a bachelor's degree program, right? And if you want a position that requires 6 to 8 years or 9 years and above, they're going to require a postgraduate degree. Why? Because academic qualifications have tremendous power. These are not just 3 or 4 years of time that you spend in university to have fun with your mates, to just relax and get a piece of paper. Academic pedagogy, that is the bulwark of the foundation of a degree program. It is the very rubric that holds the entire curtain of academia, requires you to ensure that you have a lot of different skills. They want you to be critical thinkers. They don't want you to just memorize and answer questions. They want you to be able to speak well. They want you to be able to write well. They want you to be able to make decisions. They want you to be able to make comparative studies. They want you to be able to make threaded discussions. And that's why there are so many different taxonomies, right? For example, Bloom's taxonomy happens to be one of the most famous taxonomies that are used in academia. But what does this do? It helps you become a far better person. It helps you prepare for a position, because when you get to real life, when you get to a job, and if you say, I know everything about ethical hacking, Jay, but I do not know critical thinking, I'm not able to talk with my mates, I'm not able to do discussions, I'm not able to provide my arguments so that I can influence others, I do not really understand how to manage my projects and expectations by customers, you're not going to go far. That's a fact. And these are skills that only universities are able to provide you, right? I can tell you for a fact, I went to the United Kingdom to become an attorney. I did my law degree in Cardiff Law School. It's been the best years of my life. It prepared me for the world like never before. Not just because of the knowledge that I had. That's just one element. It's about the practicality and the applicability of the knowledge that I have. So the point I'm trying to tell you is, if you want a leadership career, you're going to need to have a master's degree, period. Does that mean that you have a master's degree, but you don't need language, project management, leadership? No, of course not. You need all of that. But with all things being equal, a master's degree is critical. Which area would you want to do a master's degree in? If I were in your place, I would say I would do a bachelor's in computer science. I will then specialize in cybersecurity, or I will do a dual degree. Why not? I have all the time in the world, right? I am able to invest in my present today so I can have a very bright future tomorrow. Now take a look at one other element that I truly like with cybersecurity. The only two countries that have some of the highest rates of cybersecurity talent is India and United States, What does this tell me? Guys, there are almost 200 countries in the world. All of the countries have shortages of cybersecurity talent. That tells me that I will be able to have a very good shot in migrating to another country if I have got cybersecurity, if you are interested to migrate. I'm not sure if you want to. I know that at ECCouncil offices around the world, we get tremendous amount of talent from all over the world. We have got employees that have come from as far as Sudan. We have employees from France. We have employees from Morocco. We have employees from India. We have employees from Singapore. We have employees from China. We've had Vietnam. We have them all. US, right? But you might be one of those that say, hey, I want a career that doesn't hold me in just my country. I want to be able to get a job anywhere in the world. Well, then cybersecurity really fits your industry. I'm not telling you that you have to do it with ECCouncil. You can do it with anyone you like. That's up to you. That's your decision. You will have to have critical thinking of figuring out which is the best program for you. But I'm here to tell you that if you want cybersecurity, you can expect a pretty decent paying job. If you're good, a very high paying job. If you're great, you'll probably get seniority. If you get a master's degree, you'll be going up fast. And I'll tell you that this position is something that you can get employed almost anywhere in the world. You're not limited to anyone. So this is the reason why you should really consider cybersecurity. Now, I just thought that, to make my point about cybersecurity leaders, right? What would be an inflection point in your career? When I say inflection point, what is it that's going to be a turning point? To me, it's going to be a globally recognized degree, right? Assuming you have everything else, in an area where I can prove my mastery. Now take a look at this. This is the Gerhard Ashkelback is the CISO of Google, right? George and Alex are CISOs at Facebook and Apple. And you realize all of them have masters of security in cybersecurity. Because do you really think Google is going to hire someone who does not have a postgraduate degree in cyber? It'll be disastrous for them, right? Of course, these are amazing individuals. They are highly competent. They are superbly brilliant, but they also have specialization in cybersecurity. And this is why more than 85% of corporates mandate a degree in cybersecurity for them to hire leaders. This is a trend of the world. And I can predict that 10 years from now, if you want to be a chief data officer or you want to be a transformation officer, corporates are going to be asking you for a master's degree in artificial intelligence. This is going to be the requirement of the future. So you should seriously be considering a program that provides you with at least a bachelor's degree first and then a master's degree in cybersecurity. And I'll be happy to share with you what ECCouncil University is all about. So in summary, if you want to be a leader of cybersecurity for tomorrow, let me introduce to you ECCouncil University. I started ECCouncil in the year 2001 after the 9/11 attacks. 2003 was when Certified Ethical Hacker was born, as most of you would know. And ECCouncil University was thereafter around 2006. What's the mission of ECU? Why did we do this? Well, we did this because when ECCouncil was created, and we created thousands of cybersecurity experts around the world in certifications and so on, the one thing that corporates kept telling us is, hey, it's good. Certifications are great because they provide a validation of technique. But we require people that have critical thinking. We want people that were born in a cybersecurity environment where they understand how to do independent research. They understand how to do, how to understand business. They understand project management. They understand cybersecurity core. They understand being able to look at an RFP of various vendors and be able to advise us which is the vendor we should pick. This is not just technical. This is critical thinking. And we realized at the time that it's important that as a leader of the world, ECCouncil needs to form its own university, and we formed ECCouncil University. Why did we make this an online university, folks? You will see online is underlined. This is a critical point because if you want to specialize in cybersecurity, two things are required. Number one, if you are already in cyber or you are already employed in IT, do you think it's smart to tell you, can you please stop everything, get off your job, resign, come to my school that's physical for 4 years, learn cybersecurity, go back into employment, because in 4 years when you go back to employment, everything you learn is outdated. So it is our vision that if we want to provide cyber citizens, we need to have it online. We want individuals that are working to remain working, remain relevant in the industry, take this on as a part-time program so that whatever you learn, you can apply, number one. Number two, students that are in universities, many of you are from our partner universities, fantastic, great job for that. We don't want you to go out of these programs, remain in these programs because you need a very strong computer science foundation. But use this opportunity. If their program is available online, you are going to be able to get multiple skills without letting go of the core skills that are required, because it's flexible. You are able to do it online, you can do it in the evening, you can do it in the day. No one's going to tell you that you've got to show up at a specific time. This is a United States university. Your degree is a US degree. It is recognized in the United States, not just recognized by one, but recognized by 4 different accreditation agencies, including DEAC, which is recognized by Department of Education. It's a nightmare to have a university accredited in the US because the standards of academia is so high. And this university that we've built meets the highest standards in cybersecurity academic delivery. But there are a lot of other differences. Number 2, ECCouncil's presence around the world. It is not Bavisi University. It's not John University. It is ECCouncil University. The organizations that's been trusted by various agencies across the world to create cyber defenders. This is an ECCouncil University. So the global accreditation, the global recognition, if you have your name in a degree on a wall which says, I have a master's in cybersecurity from ECCouncil University, the ability of you to be employable, the ability, at least in my opinion, for you to be able to present to an employer your technical know-how, your leadership know-how would increase tenfold, because you're not a generic university. The world knows ECCouncil is masters in one thing and one thing only: cyber security. We're not good at mathematics. We're not good at history. We know nothing about geography. We know nothing about medicine. We know nothing about law. We know nothing about IT. We know nothing about computer science. But we know a lot about cybersecurity because we are the creators of the global standards. And that is what makes ECCouncil University so different. Next, the industry recognition. We have got multiple advisory boards, subject matter experts from some of the largest firms around the world that rely on ECCouncil's knowledge sharing, rely on ECCouncil's knowledge development, standards development. So this becomes another unique proposition for people that are part of ECCouncil University. You know what's really great about being a part of ECCouncil University? It'd be nice to get into an interview, and when somebody says, hey, Tom, what degree do you have? Oh, I have a degree. I have a master's in cybersecurity from ECCouncil University. What's the worst that can happen? Maybe Tom comes from HR, not from IT. He might not have heard of ECCouncil. And he'll say, oh, really, ECCouncil University, where is it based? In the US. Let me tell you something about ECCouncil University. These are the guys, ECCouncil are the guys that the Pentagon relies on to create ethical hacker, to defend the Pentagon from precipitated attacks, from belligerent attacks that happen against the United States. ECCouncil is the organization trusted by the Department of Defense to create cybersecurity professionals. And I am proud to be a member of ECCouncil University. This is a game changer in the way you differentiate yourself, because you're not part of a university that does 50-degree programs. I do nursing, I do mathematics, I do statistics. We do one thing and one thing only, and we are best in the world in what we do: cyber security, right? Now, the entire vision behind the university is very straightforward, right? The vision, which is translated into the mission, is 3 things. Number 1, we want a comprehensive academic curriculum. What do I mean by that? I will share with you in a second. We want technical mastery in our graduates, and we want to make sure that our graduates are industry job ready. Because this is the other problem. You get a degree and then you don't get employed, right? So these are 3 things that we're very careful about. So what do we mean by comprehensive academic curriculum? There's something really unique, right? We have rapid speed in curriculum development. When there is an attack that's happening around the world today, our teams are so quick because we want our students to learn the latest and the greatest. And this has been one of the biggest reasons why we've been so popular with cybersecurity degrees. Our update cycles are very regular. We encourage a lot of class discussions, and it was so nice because our students are from all over the world. Never do you get students from one country. You get from the Middle East, you get from Asia, you get from the US, you get from Europe. You get different students that bring different value to the class, and that adds so much value, especially when everyone's online. Most of them are practitioners. Many of them are very brilliant students that are actually taking cybersecurity classes for the future, and that really makes us different. Another point that makes us different is we provide instructional video for all of the programs. So if you want a career in cybersecurity, it'll be nice to take a professor home. So you will get instructional videos where you'll actually be able to see the demos of the hands-on exercises that you're going to be doing. Now let's talk about hands-on, right? What's the point of having a cybersecurity degree if you have never seen what a technical screen looks like? If you have never used Metasploit, if you do not understand what an IDS, IPS is, if you don't understand the different hashes that are in the world, you don't understand the art of decryption, you don't understand penetration testing methodologies, you don't understand what's risk management and risk assessments. These are things that have to be trained in a hands-on creative environment. And that's why at ECCouncil University, we do a tremendous job in making sure all of our students are required to go through cyber ranges. Just the way the Marines teach individuals in the shooting range to shoot a gun, we teach our cybersecurity professionals in a cloud-based cyber range to get them to hack. And therefore, they're able to really do a brilliant job in the real work environment. We are very focused about industry and job readiness, and that's why we provide internships, we provide mentorships, and here's the best part, we require our students to go through professional certifications while they are doing a degree program with us. Why? Because we want our guys to be 100% employed, and we want our students to be absolutely job ready and industry job ready. So the internship program is something that's really interesting, that really makes it very different. I'm running out of time, so I want to take some questions of yours. I'm going to go a little bit fast. We have a world-class learning platform that provides you with library, with class discussions, a library. We provide you quizzes, assignments, everything to make sure that you become the best that you can be and that you differentiate yourself. This is what makes ECCouncil really different. The one philosophy that we have at ECCouncil University is that we will not hire a professor if they do not have real life industry experience, period. We do not want just pure academic cybersecurity professors. We want people who come from the industry. Why? Because we want our students to get that enrichment, the rich value of real life experience from our professors. And we have an amazing, amazing feedback from our students. We're proud because of this formula of having hands-on exercises, beautiful programs, up-to-date programs being delivered by world-class faculty who are all practitioners across the world, primarily from the United States. We have 100% certification success rate. So none of our students have failed a certification success in our last intake. Can you believe that? So guess what? Can you guess if they're going to get employed? I don't know. Make up your own mind, right? ECU has various degrees. We have graduate certificate programs for those that want to take a short 3-month program. We have a Bachelor's of Science in Cybersecurity and Master's of Science. You can ask all the questions to our career counselors. They'll be more than happy to provide that to you. The graduate certificate program, you can pick between a specialization in digital forensics, enterprise architecture, incident management, information assurance. The bachelor's degree has got 3 industry certifications included, which is a CND, CH, and CHFI. So when you get through this degree program, again, it's online, which means you can get a day job and you can take this program. You can be enrolled in a degree program and yet have this program together. And that's why a lot of universities partner with us, because a joint collaboration between programs truly bring out the best in the students. So we collaborate in a bachelor's program. We also have a master's a degree in cybersecurity, with specialization in digital forensics, incident management, information assurance. And here's the best part, right? When you become a student of ECCouncil University, you get the benefit of the ECCouncil ecosystem. What does that mean? It means that you get a benefit of ECCouncil certifications. You get to attend Hacker Halted, which we hold in Atlanta every single year. We do various events across the world. You get a benefit of that. We have a publication division called CISO Mac. You get a benefit of CISO Mac. We have a consulting division of ECCouncil called ECCouncil Global Services, which means students that graduate sometimes get picked up by our own consulting department. They don't even get to go out if they so wish to pursue it that way. So there's so many opportunities of being part of ECCouncil.